I just had a piece accepted into an anthology of Chopin Nocturne influenced pieces by women composers. It's called 22 Nocturnes for Chopin. It's for a project run by a recent graduate of the Royal Northern College of Music. I had a Nocturne in G sharp minor that was accepted, and so while I was writing the piece, I was really kind of looking at the formal organization in some of the nocturnes. And now there was a stipulation that there was a maximum length, and I ended up deciding on a binary form because that fit within the stipulation that they wanted. And so, I found myself choosing a few nocturnes to kind of use as formal inspiration. And formally, I tend to take a more classical approach, just as, if I'm composing and left to my own devices. But I saw a lot of these rondo forms that had the substantial variation within them. I think he also got that from Mozart. Does that a lot, so.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Now, we can actually play a little bit. Should we play a little bit? Why don't we play a little bit, and then you can give some commentary.
Yeah, so this is the record. I know it says recorded by the composer. It was actually created by my Note Performer software, which is a plugin that I purchased to go with Sibelius.
Very good.
Yeah. And it's apparently run by AI, but it gives a much more lifelike sound than what's available in any of these notation programs. It supposedly works with any of them. Sibelius is my choice. It has been since 2001. But yeah, I can play a little bit of it. And
okay, let's play a little bit, and then you can just talk about the composition itself after we play maybe 30 seconds or so. Okay. I want to keep playing it. I don't want to stop it. It's very good. It's very hard for me to stop it. Okay, I would probably just play the whole thing. I have to stop it somewhere. It's so good. Nicole, that was great. What a composition. You are such a good composer. And I remember the first interview I complimented. Was it a quartet you wrote? I think a C minor something. That was very good too.
A string quartet in C major. So that was performed at the She Scores Composition Festival and New Music Festival last year. So last summer, and then that was rebroadcast on WCLV, which is Cleveland's wonderful classical music station, back in the fall. So that was more of, me attempting to be contemporary, which is not always something I'm comfortable with, clearly. But apparently the product was very well received. The players had a lot of fun with it. So I'm hoping this will be the same for the Nocturne. There's just not that much good Chopin preparatory music, because I think this historical composition training that we get through Partimento just hasn't kind of circulated widely enough to be available to pedagogical composers yet. But I think it is incredibly important for pedagogical composers, so composers of older style music for students of whatever instrument, just extremely important to be fluent in schema and Partimento and all that, because otherwise you will always be speaking the tonal language with an accent.
Wait, so it's interesting because I remember just at the beginning of this interview, you said you looked at your older compositions. Did this influence you greatly in terms of the way you kind of broke away from more vertical composing and thinking in a different kind of orientation?
Well, yeah. So in 2005,
because I know you didn't you study composition? I mean, before all of this as well.
Yeah. So I was my degree from the University of Michigan is in theory. So, I had all these grand plans of becoming the next Nadia Boulanger. And so the theory degree they're kind of exceptional in that they have a theory degree at the undergrad level, which is somewhat hard to find. Obviously, ample composition coursework is expected of that. And also, I had just the absolute stroke of luck to be able to enroll in the upper level counterpoint course in 2005, which was earlier than I normally would have been allowed to, but I had some shuffling around. I was able to finish my coursework kind of early, and Kevin Corson was teaching it. So he is another big name in teaching with a Partimento approach, and he would give us some of the Princess Anne Partimenti from Handel. I had no idea what they were at the time. We would just get this bass and say, fill it out, and we would do it. And, I wasn't aware that that's what they were called. But that class really sort of forced me to start thinking in lines rather than just, here's some chords and a pretty melody. Which was, I think that's how a lot of pianists, composers start to go about it. If they have a sense of melody, they might have a pretty melody. And then from there on, it's just chord, chord, chord.
Now, how do I get to write like you? That's so good. What do I have to... You said fluency and schema. What else do I need to do? Can you write out what's the steps that are beginning? If you could do over composition training, maybe not for yourself, but maybe for your student, how do you plan it out? Like, what kind of things do you have to sketch out a path for in terms to compose nicely like this?
Really making sure, well, if we're talking about kids, you have to make sure the parents are on board with supporting practice every single day. Get the student playing a wide variety of repertoire.
Okay.
So playing, not just listening. Listening is nice, but especially for certain learning styles, they need to be singing and doing it as well. And that's what these conservatories in Italy were doing, because they were immersed in it. They were in mass every day. They were playing and singing and writing every day. Now, that's hard to do today because classical music is no longer the popular music, so it's not what is sort of in your face every day. Again, that's why I think there is an advantage if the parent is a musician, because then there's that daily interaction with that type of music. But a wide variety of repertoire, all the exam people are going to get angry at me for saying this, but the exam culture of playing 3 pieces a year just because that's all you have time to prepare for your exams is a big problem.
Yeah.
So some teachers are good about this, where they won't keep you on only your exam pieces. They'll have you playing 20 pieces a year, and then you'll pick your 3 for the exam. But I find a lot of exam-focused studios are just 3 pieces a year, and then I'll get these adult students who come in and they did Royal Conservatory their whole lives, and they've never done Debussy. and so
you're preaching. This is like a tonic. This is like a tonic to the soul.